Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I have a very special unboxing for you all. As you can see right here with the name, I have the brand new F50 in a colorway that actually sold out. This is supposed to be the launch teaser colorway of the F50 Elite. If I can get to the proper part of the box. Right here, as you can see, it says F50 Elite FG LC teaser. This is supposed to be a throwback to the Chameleon Purple Adidas F50 Adizero, released all the way back in 2010, worn by Lionel Messi. These guys kind of got the box wrong, which is kind of crazy because you can see there's a little tab to open it up here because it's supposed to be a drawer style box, but for some reason they put the drawer over here. So it's like they entered the box wrong, which is kind of crazy, but I literally just got these in today. So we're going to see what this is about. Obviously, I got them in my usual size 11, UK 10.5. I really don't want to pull this too close. UK 10.5, France or Europe 45 and a third, whichever. And as you can see here, some of the colors. We have uni purple, I assume, something white, and lucid lemon, I believe. Made in Vietnam. And yeah, got limited collection as it is a teaser. These sold out super fast on the Adidas website. Like literally the day they dropped, both the laceless and the lace variation sold out. This is the laced version. As you can see, if it was the laceless, it would say LL over here. But yeah, got F50 across the top, limited collection again. And yeah, let me stop teasing you guys and let's open up the boots. So drawer style. And believe it or not, this is my first time actually seeing the boots. I haven't seen anything in them yet. So first, we get our sheet of paper, wear and care instructions. I never really look at these because, who does? Then we have, as you can see, this lime green paper, which is pretty cool. Does it say F50 on it? No, it does not. But as I open this up, as you can see, oh my, that is beautiful. The new F50 Elite in this sold out limited edition colorway. Beautiful. Put that over here to the side. We have a pair of comfort insoles, which if you are an F50 boot nerd or just a boot nerd in general, you'll remember that the OG F50s came with comfort insoles as well as speed insoles, which are already featured inside of the boot. But yeah, it would come with a pair of comfort insoles, which were a little thicker than the speed ones, so that in case you didn't like them, you could switch them out and put them in. So that's pretty cool. Put those over there. You get a string bag. The string bag is pretty basic. It's purple, which is nice, and it says F50 right here in a nice like lucid lemon with an Adidas logo right there. And then if I peel this away, here's the other boot, the other F50. Beautiful looking piece of footwear. But yeah, those are the two boots. I'm going to put all the extras away, and then we're going to get into the main unboxing. I want to start out by giving you guys some basic facts and interesting information about the boots. So first off, in terms of pricing, these will be going for $330 at regular retail, which is the same price that you could have got the Adidas X Crazy Fast Elite, the laced version, for back when it was still the current model. It's the same price that you'll get for their Predator and their Copa as well. It's pretty decent, respectable in my opinion, and I'm glad that they didn't increase the price from the Crazy Fast Elite, because that would have been a bummer, especially if this turns out to not be as good. After all, new boot, so a lot of first impressions to be made. Another thing that you need to know is that in terms of the actual top level schema of the boot, so this is essentially the basic version of the F50. So there's going to be 4 top level versions. So you have this one, the F50 Elite Laced. Then you'll have the Adidas F50 Elite LL, which is the laceless version. Then you'll have the Adidas F50 Elite Mid, which is the women's fit version with just a mid-cut collar. So it's basically this with a mid-cut collar. And finally, you'll have the Adidas F50 Elite, Adidas F50 Plus. And that, they haven't really released a lot of details about it, but based off of what I've seen, it has a special cushioning feature in the sole plate, and it also is laceless like the Adidas F50 Elite LL. So that'll be interesting to see. But again, this is basically the basic version that you're going to get. Now, I just want to point out some of the other interesting facts about it. This is a homage to the original Adidas F50 Adizero that was dropped back in 2010 for the World Cup. back in that what was it called? Chameleon Purple colorway. I think I mentioned it at the start of this video, and that was the colorway that many of you will remember Lionel Messi wearing, to headline the new arrival of this F50 boot. A boot that at the time was revolutionary for being one of the lightest boots on the market. I think it was the lightest speed boot on the market, lighter than anything Nike was doing, anything Puma was doing, anything that any of those brands want to do to compete. It was completely phenomenal and revolutionary what they did with the F50. So this return of the F50 is supposed to signify that, return of something revolutionary, something emphatic, something very cool. And I guess that's why they decided to go with that special colorway. Now, in terms of the actual resemblance to that colorway, I think it does a pretty good job. From where I'm looking, it looks purple, but in the camera, I guess it kind of looks like more like a dark navy blue, and that probably has to do with a little bit of my lighting. It's more of like a yellow and less of like a white light. But this is purple, and you can see there's a bit of that chameleonish fade into that, like, is it like an olive green, or like, no, not an olive, more of like a tealish green. But you can see as I rotate the boot, you can see it on the upper. Where it is like down here, it's more purple, but as soon as you tilt it this way, you can see that tealish greenish chameleon fade start to appear there. Another thing that's cool to notice is the sole plate. It's another iridescent sole plate, so that's my 5th one in a row. I absolutely love these, and every time I get one, I'm super excited to have it. But you can see, if you compare this with the original sole plate that was on the Adidas F50, that one was a completely white sprint frame. This one is more or less a white sprint frame, but it has like an iridescent finish, and it also seems to have this white to lucid lemon or volt fade, which is pretty cool. So I guess it's a cool way of distinguishing the boots from their, their inspiration. But yeah, with that all said, let's get into the tech specs of these football boots. And at the end, I'm going to do an on-feet portion where I show you guys how the boots look and give you my first impressions of what they fit and feel like. Beginning with the upper, we have what is called Fiber Touch. As you can see, it's listed right here with the branding. Essentially, Fiber Touch is just a thin textile-based synthetic. For me, in hand, it feels more so, it feels like a fusion between my F50 Ghosted remakes, like the actual plasticky F50 upper, but also like the Speed Portal Plus, because it's not that like plasticky, but it's also like, it's got like a little bit of a knitty feeling to it. It's kind of weird. It's kind of hard to describe, but that's what it feels like. But I guess in terms of just being blunt, it's just a really thin textile-based synthetic, which is much different from the plasticky synthetics that you would get with the older F50s, or even like the Hybrid Touch that was on like F54, I believe, the one that came out in 2014. I like to call it the F54 because that was like the 4th generation or 4th iteration that they did. But yeah, it's just a very basic, thin, textile-based synthetic. On top of that, you can see something called Sprint Web, and you look very closely and look at these little indentations, patterns, lines, and ribs. You'll see that they add a little bit of volume and texture to the upper, and it's basically just to provide some roughness and texture, as I just mentioned, to the upper. It's not necessarily a grip element, I'd say. It's nothing like the strike skin fins that you would find on like the Adidas Predator right now, or for example, actually I'd say it's more similar to the grip knit that you would find from the Nike Phantom GX2, or the upcoming Mercurial Vapor 10, not Mercurial Vapor 10, Mercurial Vapor 16 and Superfly 10. It's more similar to that because it's not like an overt grip element like the strike skin fins, but it's not nearly as obnoxious and noticeable. It's just to add some roughness and texture to the upper. And it starts like up here. You have a little bit of a break on the inside. It's more so on the outside here, on the inside here, and it extends all the way down the boot on the lower sides. So it's kind of interesting where it's placed. I think it's just going to act as like a slight bit of texture and roughness, which will be nice in like wet conditions when you're trying to control the ball a little bit, but I don't think it'll have any crazy impact on your touch or any of the grip, which is, whatever. It's a nice, cool feature to have, and I think it gives the boots a little bit of character in terms of its actual design and the whole like looks aspect of it. And the third part is actually the tongue, and it's a bit complicated the way they designed this. So if I can just open this up a little bit, let me take this out. This is, the packaging to keep this nice. And so the way this is, you can see right here, there is this thing that says compression fit. Okay, so I actually undid the laces to make it easier to see. You can see it says here compression fit. And so this is actually more of like a tunnel than an actual tongue. Right here, you have this like central piece that runs like, through the middle to act as your tongue. But alongside that, you can see you have this connection that runs all the way down into the sole plate. You can't really see it with the lighting I have, but it's going, this whole like tongue piece is going underneath the actual insole, and it's attached to the actual sole plate to create like a sort of tunnel. And with these like, well, let's say they're anodized maybe, but these like anodized looking like strips, they're supposed to add some more structure to the actual tongue to give you that compression and the compression fit like system. So you have one running across the top of the foot saying F50 with the branding, and then you have some on the side, and then of course you have the tunnel or the tongue, put into the actual base of the sole plate, which is again really hard to see. The insole rests on top of it, and so you create this kind of compression fit tunnel that your foot is supposed to slide into, giving you the structure and support you need to stay locked into the boots. I've never seen a type of lacing system like this. I think the closest thing I have in my collection to something like this would probably be my Tiempo Legend 10s, because they have a similar like one piece like upper over here, but then that's stitched together with a Flyknit tongue, which is, while not the same, it's kind of similar in the terms of the way they look, but I doubt it will be the same in terms of the way they perform. So I guess that will be interesting to see. But yeah, those are the three main unique features that you get with this new F50 in terms of the upper. Now, if we move to the rear of the boot, first I want to take out the insole, because I already mentioned that there is a speed insole and a comfort insole. So you get the speed insole. You can see they clearly label it, which is kind of funny. It says speed here, F50 Adidas. It's a nice purple suede for the base, and underneath you can see it's a nice white piece of foam. Pretty basic, super thin, very lightweight. Honestly, after having the comfort ones in hand and having this in hand, this is definitely a much lighter insole. Not just because of like the perforations, but just in terms of like the way it feels and the thickness. It's very thin, very lightweight, but it's nothing crazy. It's like more or less like what I have in my Crazy Fast Plus, for example. So that's, cool and unique. And then also I want to see if I can show you guys. There's that compression fit system again. You can see like this is where the sole plate is usually stitched in. You can see that it's actually stitched together with the sole plate base and kind of runs underneath the sole plate, right where my finger is. Not this one, but that one. You can see that's where this whole tongue thing is stitching into. So that's a really cool and unique way to design it. Let me get the insole back inside. Yeah. Make sure it's all nice and jammed back in there. And then in the heel, they've actually went with a more minimalistic approach. With the Crazy Fast Plus and the Speed Portal Plus, you had much thicker pillows here in the heel. But here, these pillows are honestly very thin, very minimalistic, very like barefoot, for lack of a better term. And you can see it has like these micro grip like patches, or not, they're not really dots. They're more like maybe like a decal or something, but it adds a little bit of like friction to the heel, and I'm guessing this is to try and prevent heel slippage when you're wearing the boots. I doubt it will do anything much, but those are there, so it's just important to point those out. But that's it for the main like shell and housing of the boots. If I get these, put these laces back inside, we can move on to the base. So the base of this boot is called the Sprint Frame 360. I don't know where they write the name. Oh, I think it's right here. Yeah. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. Damn, the lighting is really hard to pick it up. But right here, it says Sprint Frame 360. And the reason why they're calling it that is because you have these bladed studs, but also you have these circular ones. And so the whole marketing spiel with this new Sprint Frame 360 is that you don't just get forward and backward, traction and grip when you're going to go fast. Now with these conical or, well, semicircle studs that you have here, you also get multi-directional movement And you can see with these arrows that they've tried to place all over, they're trying to point out different ways in which these conical studs will help you move. In terms of the actual plate itself, it feels very stiff through here. Actually, wait. Never mind. That's actually very not stiff. At least, okay, compared to the Crazy Fast Plus and the Speed Portal Plus, and even my F50 Ghosted remakes, this is not nearly as stiff. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that this no longer features the Carbitex insert or the plastic insert that those boots used to have, but it's not nearly as stiff through the midfoot as I remember. In terms of forefoot flexibility, it feels about the same as what I could remember from the Crazy Fast. Pretty responsive overall, in hand at least, but I don't know how that's going to fare when I actually wear these. And then, I just want to touch on a few stylistic design choices. You have this middle stud right here, which is very clearly taken from the Speed Portal / Crazy Fast. Then you have these two bladed studs up here, as well as these bladed studs back here, which are taken from the Speed frame used on the X Ghosted and the X Speed Flow, which is pretty interesting. It's nice that they're kind of incorporating some of the older elements from their older boots and putting it into this F50. The only really new parts I'd say would be these two toe pick studs right here, which are very small and I imagine won't do much, but also the conical / semicircle studs that you have here. They're basically like a really big circle with a nice square. What am I saying? A nice line to kind of like make it like not really like a teardrop, but like imagine you took like a rectangle and you put like a semicircle on top of it. That's what these studs are more or less like. And I think it's interesting the way that they decide to do this, because for me, when I think of a speed boot, and I think some other creators have said this as well, when I think of speed boot, I think of like more blades and more, just aggression in the design of the sole plate. And while this does have its fair share of aggressiveness, thanks to these chevron studs and these bladed studs here in the heel and in the forefoot, I don't really know like what they're trying to do with these conical studs. I don't think they're gonna really make the speed experience any better. But I mean, I guess that remains to be seen when these are actually worn on feet. Some other cool details, of course, this is an iridescent plate. If you do have this colorway, the finish will wear off over time as you use them, which sucks. So if you're someone who wants to keep these in a pristine condition, I wouldn't recommend using them. But I do think it looks very cool. I especially like this lime fade. It starts like lime, and it fades into this like white color over here, and then you have like this purple which fades into that lime, which looks very good. And the F50 branding right in the middle is absolutely beautiful. I think it's actually placed underneath the sole plate, kind of like how with the current Predator model, if you get the top end versions, at least I believe, it says Predator, but it's like underneath the sole plate, so that can never ever wear out. And it ends up giving like a nice classy like look to the football boots. But yeah, that's it really for the tech specs on the F50. I've kind of gone over everything with the upper, the sole plate, the heel area, the casing. And so now I want to actually put these on and show you guys what they look like on feet, and also give you guys a sense of how they fit and feel. So let's get into that. All right, guys. So I have my socks on, of course, wearing the Adidas socks so I can get some brand continuity. And now I'm going to put these on. Something I forgot to mention, which I really like, is that now that I've opened the laces up, that these laces are a bit thicker than the ones I had on the Crazy Fast Plus. So they're going to be a lot easier to put on, and be easier to grip, because thinner laces, you have to manipulate them and have a little more dexterity to work with them. But yeah, another thing I'm going to be interested to see is how this compression fit system actually works in terms of putting the football boots on. So yeah, I'm going to start off with the left one. Ooh, let's see. Oh, okay, interesting. Then we're going to do this next one. Apologize if the shadows are covering. Okay, interesting fit. Let me pull these tight. Pull the laces tight. Is this up to the, oh wow, I guess Adidas didn't lace these up to the final lace hole. Interesting. Okay, push this across. And push this across. Keep in mind, I'm not doing any advanced lacing techniques right now, like the runner's loop. This is literally just me putting the boots on for the first time. So that's that. That's the right boot. And then the left boot. Tie this tight. Wow, this is really weird. This is low-key weird. Okay. Get this. And get that. And we'll tie that. Okay, as you can see, we have the boots on. And I mean, I already really like them, I can't lie. These are pretty nice. In terms of the actual fit, my toes are all the way up to here, kind of similar to my Crazy Fasts, which, you know, to be expected, they are about the same width and length. So I don't really have any issues with that. The heel is gripping pretty well. Even with these being normal socks, these are not grip socks, so I feel really well gripped and locked in. The compression fit system is really doing a good job, especially right here and right here. I feel super locked in. No real lateral or medial give with each step, which I mean, we're going to see more when I actually play in the boots, but I'm not really feeling anything, you know, adverse. One thing I didn't mention when I was talking about the sole play is that these are no longer on your toes. So you know how with the Crazy Fast and the Speed Flow and the Speed Portal, you had that little arch near the toe box, or like the forefoot of the actual sole plate, which was supposed to be similar to like a sprinter spike. That's no longer present on this F50. It's just a very flat sole plate, which is similar to what you're getting from other boots like the Mercurial or the New Balance Furon or the Puma Ultra, etc., etc. So yeah, very flat. And I honestly, I mean, in terms of like a just general fit or like a casual fit, I actually prefer this over that raised aggressive like toe box. But in terms of like actual performance, I do prefer that older toe box where it was just raised up a bit and gives me that sprinter spike stance where I'm on my toes, because I like that push off, that extra little bit of energy return and rigidity and agility that I get from that, you know, little spring up in the front of the foot. But apart from that, this is very comfortable. I mean, I've never felt so much width and like, you know, roominess without it being too tight, you know, like it's very accommodating. I think if you have wide feet, you're going to enjoy these boots a lot. They more or less feel like the Crazy Fast if it had more lockdown in this area without the runner's loop, because with the runner's loop, the Crazy Fast Plus is pretty good, but this just feels amazing. Obviously, I have narrow ankles, so I do have a bit of dead space right here. I guess if I decide to do the runner's loop, that would decrease that even more. But the lockdown here is already very impressive, very amazing. That's the one thing that's really standing out to me having these on feet for the first time. I haven't really done like a full around view of them, but as you can see, just very good looking all around. And in terms of the actual colorway, like when you actually have them on feet, you can't really see the chameleon effect, at least maybe with this lighting. Maybe when I'm outside on a pitch on a sunny day, it might look different. But here, the boots just look purple to me, which is, you know, to be expected. I really like the styling, especially with like the F50. When I put my foot like this, it's such a good look. You can see the Fiber Touch branding, F50. It just looks very good. The upper does feel kind of plasticky at first, so it feels more like, you know, the F50s of old. But I feel like as I wear these in, they'll probably soften up and start to feel a lot more Speed Portal Plus-esque, because I was still getting that vibe when I was kind of feeling around and messing around with the upper. But overall, I think a very good fit so far, a very good first impression for me with these boots, and I cannot wait to take these on the pitch and try them out. But anyways, yeah, that's my unboxing of the Adidas F50 Elite, guys. I really hope you enjoyed, and I hope you stay tuned for my play tests, my review, of course, of it, and any other videos coming my way. If you enjoyed this, please like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think about these new F50s, if you think they live up to the hype, if you think they're worth the hype, if you think that, they're kind of a miss and you kind of prefer what Adidas was doing with the X line, you wish they stayed with it. Let me know if you have these, and let me know what your impressions of them are. Are they the same as mine, or do you have a different thought on it? And with all that being said, thanks for watching. I'll see you all in my next video. Take care.